Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you all settle in, I just wanted to give you a word of welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight at our annual dinner. We'll begin the event, as we always do, with a recitation of the Quran by Brother Tayyib Farigi.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس ولا يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه تراب فأصابه وابل فتركه صلدا لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين ومثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم ابتغاء مرضات الله وتثبيتا من أنفسهم كمثل جنة بربوة أصابها وابل فآتت أكلها ضعفين فإن لم يصبها وابل فطل والله بما تعملون بصير أيود أحدكم أن تكون له جنة من نخيل وأعناب تجري من تحتها الأنهار له فيها من كل الثمرات وأصابه الكبر وله ذرية ضعفاء فأصابها إعصار فيه نار فاحترقت كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم. صدق الله العظيم.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you all please stand for the presentation of our flag?
Scouts, attention! Color guards, advance. Scouts, advance. Color guards, post the colors.
Now, if you could all please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Color guards, dismissed. Scouts, dismissed.
Thank you. You may all be seated.
I want to thank you all again for coming, for being here tonight and joining us on this joyous occasion. This is the Muslim Association of Virginia annual dinner. I'll be your host for tonight, Bilal Aslam. And I want to give you a welcome for this event, which is an exciting time for us. We are gathering together as we do every year to celebrate our achievements for the year before and to set our sights for the future. And on our horizon, we see many captivating changes and developments that we hope to make, inshallah, that will advance our community further and draw us nearer to our Creator, to our beloved Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to one another as brothers and sisters in Islam and humanity. We have many guests here that are gathered. I want to welcome all of you from the faith and from our neighboring faiths. We want to thank all of our volunteers and our organizers for their hard work, and for our guests who have joined us from near and from far to help us tonight. Throughout the course of the evening, we'll be highlighting some of our proudest moments over the past year, none of which will be possible without your generosity and support. The support that you give as brothers, as sisters, parents, as elders and friends, advisors, has been absolutely invaluable to our work. Your prayers, your time, your commitment, your passion and enthusiasm, and of course also your donations, help to bring our collective vision to life. And I want to extend a special thanks to everyone for joining us. Tonight is for all of us. So we are thrilled to have you join us in this celebration for our community. I'm especially excited for you to learn about some of the plans that we have for our growth and expansion, and to extend that opportunity to you to be able to be a part of this future success, inshallah. Being a part of this community, supporting its growth and the development will help to establish an institution that stands firm and will serve as an anchor for generations to come. Our combined efforts will allow MAV to fulfill its mission of serving the community to meet its needs in order to be successful in this life and in the next. Evenings like this are an opportunity to make your own legacy and to extend your good deeds to be able to benefit for years to come. Our community has a story and a history that starts with our founders and our elders. the pillars of our community, some of whom are no longer with us. We pray that inshallah they reap the rewards of their visionary efforts, and we pray that they have the rewards for their work as they have given so much of themselves so that the rest of us may benefit. And we pray Allah accepts from them and grants them success in the hereafter and in this life. I want to invite one such leader to the stage now to give a welcome address to the community, our board chair, Brother Yaqub Zargarpur. Please welcome him to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Come on, we can do better than that. Assalamu alaikum. There you go, there you go. I thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. But before we start with the program, we just had Veterans Day, and we have a little video prepared for you for all of our Muslim brothers and sisters who served our country and died defending our country. So if we could have Stilamia please come up.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. My name is Lamiyat Maori, and I'm here on behalf of Alliance for an Indivisible America 2020. AIA was founded by Darul Noor, the Adams Center, in Masjid Muhammad. It was created to highlight the role of Muslims in America and the contributions the Muslim community has made to the fabric of this nation. We've been working on a project honoring veterans that we would like to share with you today. You can find these videos and more at aia2020.org and on our Facebook page. Thank you.
As an organization, things didn't just happen. There were a lot of volunteers who worked very hard, gave a lot of time from their family time, from their businesses, and made Darul Noor what it is today. And even today, there are brothers and sisters who work incredibly hard to make it happen. And I would like to call our president, Brother Hassan, our treasurer, Brother Mirza, our secretary, Brother Omar, to come here. And it is because of them and their hard work that, come on guys, it's okay, they know you. So, where's Brother Mirza? They're the ones who work day in, day out. They work very, very hard. And the amount of work they do behind the scene, we just don't see it. We just come to prayers, we come to the masjid, everything is ready, everything is to go. But it is their hard work that makes it possible. It's their dedication. And they do it for the sake of Allah, they do it for the sake of our community. We need to thank them each and every single day. Sister Taliba, I think is not here. So, and also some of the other civic activities that we did is thanks to PACE Group and their activities that we were able to achieve and advance in many, many parts of our community and be able to serve our community. And I'd like to thank Brother Rafi for taking the lead. Please stand up, Brother Rafi. That was an awesome block party, brother. So, and I would like to ask all the board members to come here so everybody knows who the board members are. Everybody, please, once again, Brother Zahid Khan, Brother Diane, would you please come up to the podium? All the board members. It's okay. Don't be shy. All the board members, please. Sister Kay, Sister Mubaraka. If Sister Taliba is here, Sister Taliba. Brother Aslam, Brother Iqbal. Where's Brother Zahid Khan? Oh, there he is. There you go. This is your board, brothers and sisters. Everything you've seen, everything you're going to see in the future is their vision. and their dedication and their hard work and their cooperation and understanding that makes it possible. Okay? And they're all volunteers. And the countless hours they spend as the president or the vice president or treasurer or just the simple board member and the decisions they make, the countless hours they go to the board meetings and discuss things and weigh things. We don't just make decisions. We think about things. We talk about it. And sometimes it becomes very difficult to make decisions. But they are the ones with their vision that we move forward.
Surah Al-Fatiha is the first chapter of the Quran. And it's the most popular chapter. It's one that we recite every single day. And I believe that it's the most, not just the most popular chapter of the Quran, but it's the most repeated passage in human history. There's no passage that's repeated more. We have over 1 billion Muslims, and they all recite Surah Al-Fatiha daily. Those who pray recite it 17 times a day. And so this poem is going to be an explanation of Surah Al-Fatiha. So what I need for you to do is I need you to recite Surah Al-Fatiha and just stop at every verse. But I want you to flex on the verses. So, like put some spice on it and stuff. Do what you do. Okay? So start with أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Jesus in Mark said, this sign shall follow the believers. A sign that'll separate the true from the deceivers. They will cast out devils in the Lord's name. So in reciting God's words, that's what we proclaim every single time. That we seek refuge in Him from Satan, the cursed and outcast. And so we begin.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Allah pronounced A-double-L, exhale with love, Allah. The creator of the earth and the heavens, the one deserving of our love, obedience, and reverence. Who's Ar-Rahman? He's the one who in His mercy is extreme, and so His mercy extends to all places, things, and beings. Take the most wicked individual you can imagine in the land, and he's still drowning in the mercy of Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahim is the one whose mercy goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Alhamd is beautiful praise, with all of its values and levels and all of its ways, not because of any favors bestowed or anything that's owed, but just because He is who He is. And so He is the one deserving of that praise. Rabb means the master and sustainer, nourisher, creator, developer, maintainer. And Allah is as such for His divine construction. So praise is the most appropriate introduction to the conversation that will now take place between the master and his slave face to face.
الرحمن الرحيم.
Those two names were already explained, right? And that should suffice. But just take note that His attributes of mercy are both mentioned twice. How the people think the Lord we worship is oppressive and vindictive, I don't know, when every day He bestows on us grace. And we don't deserve it though.
مالك يوم الدين.
The master of the day of judgment. And He's the master of the day of judgment in particular, because on that day no challengers and no competitors, none shall speak, not even the whisper. The terrors of that day will be enough of an inhibitor, for that is the day where the kings fall silent and the powerful are humbled, and every violent tyrant will be exposed to be but of flesh and bones, and along with all pretenders be humbled to watch the throne.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين.
You alone do we worship, and you alone we seek for aid. And worship is everything that Allah loves for His slaves, not just the ritual like fasting and charity and prayer, but the habitual, your daily routine, down to the very care that you show to your loved ones. Or perfecting your work at your job if your heart is watching Him can all be part of your worship of God. But the only one deserving of perfect adoration and love with fear and submission is the Almighty above. And when no one is there, He'll be there for you. Call upon Him, He'll take care of you.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
Guide us the straight path, meaning guide us to it and guide us while we're on it so we never lose it. The straight path is one and crooked paths are many. Light is one and darkness plenty. Righteousness is to recognize that this is your most oft-repeated request. For the scholar and his page, the ignorant and the sage, and everyone in between is constantly in need of guidance till their dying breath. They know the dangers of self-delusion, so they fear it so, while self-righteousness is to think yourself guided from years ago.
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
The path of those you blessed from before, the prophets and the righteous and more, the truthful and those who bore witness to the truth by giving their lives in an instant. Not the path of those who earned your anger or went astray, earned your anger by knowing the truth and rejecting it, or going astray by never knowing it at all, never detecting it. What you've just heard recited are the most oft-repeated words in human history. No passage, no hymn, no prayer is spoken more frequently on more lips, nor memorized in more hearts than this. 17 times a day, every time that we pray, this is what we say. This is what we say. Al-Fatiha.
Brothers and sisters, Jazakumullah khair for coming tonight. It's a Sunday night. You could be doing something else, but you're making us special, making this community, this organization special. We really thank you. I want to take a moment to thank our dear Imam Omar Sulaiman and Ustad Ammar al-Shukri. They travel so much. They took their time to join us, help us with our community. There might be some feeling of celebrity wherever they go, but the fact that they take so much time to help not only their own community, but other communities all over the country, even overseas, that's telling. So please make dua for them, as well as for their family, for giving it all to nationwide and to all Muslim Ummah. Give them a round of applause, brothers and sisters. Brother Yaqub stole my thunder. I was going to thank everyone, all the administrative members, but being the handsome he is, he had to take my thunder. But I really want to thank all the administrative members, those who volunteer every day, every week of the year. There are a lot, as Brother Yaqub mentioned, a lot goes on in the masjid, beside the background fighting that you may not be aware of. But we have the board members, the committee chairs, who do day-to-day operation of the masjid and of the organization. The PACE committee, the New Muslim Support Group, social welfare. I would say social welfare, they have to meet every Sunday to go through number of applications. For a brief moment, I was involved in it. It's really tasking. Some of the cases that you face, it takes a lot of guts to go through the cases and sometimes deny because the lack of funding. As much as we want to help them, sometimes we're not able to. So I thank the brothers and sisters who work in the social welfare. Education committee. We have Monday through Thursday evening classes. Everyone is jammed on the upstairs floor, 50, sometimes 70, 80 kids. It takes a lot. The reason I'm mentioning this is all volunteer-based. So from bottom of my heart, from the organization, I really thank everyone who is involved helping MAV, Darul Noor Islamic Community Center. More importantly, brothers and sisters, I want to thank you on behalf of the organization. The fact that you're here means a lot. I want to thank our community members, our Muslim brothers and sisters, people of other faith. Thanks for coming, making us feel special. So the reason we're here tonight, as you know, beside the food and the great speech of Omar Sulaiman and Ustad Amar al-Shukri, for a very specific purpose. The objective is to make our expansion possible. When we think of expansion, normally we think of more prayer spaces. Ramadan is crowded, so having an expansion is going to help. But that's not it, that's part of it. Almost all the time, we have to reschedule our daily activities so that we can fit in other programs. Alhamdulillah, we are involved very effectively at the county level, state level, even at the federal level. People value Muslims' opinion, at least our opinion in our county. And it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of background activities, meetings, and it all happens at Darul Noor most of the time. And to do that, we sometimes have to cancel our evening classes. Sometimes have to push the other activities that we already scheduled, but we can't do it anymore. The gubernatorial debate, school board debate, all of that, in order to accommodate that, we are having to move, sometimes cancel the regular activities. Scouting is in my heart. Many times, we either have to cancel classes or cancel scout activities. We have over 100, close to 100 scouts in the masjid. So one way or other, we are being affected because our facility cannot support all the programs. These 2 floors, all we have. There are 2 conference rooms, or 1.5 conference room that we have, is all we have. As large as our community is, there are a lot of, I'm going to minute details, but I want you to feel it. There are supplies that sometimes we put in our basements, in volunteers' basement, because we cannot keep it in the masjid. There's no place for it. Just yesterday, the scouts collected, I would say, close to 1,500 pounds of food. That's all going to go to the needy community members. And they're sitting in the lobby because we don't have a place to store them. People offer to do coat drive. We can't do it because we don't have a place to store it. So brothers and sisters, you are here tonight for a very special purpose, is to expand our masjid. This expansion will help us to work more effectively. You may not, some of us may feel that I really don't need it. So you may not benefit immediately, but our next generation will. If they have a classroom, or even simple, if they can come to the masjid and hang out, they'll like it. I'm sure you would want them to come to the masjid, grab coffee, hang out, rather than going somewhere else. So with that, so this is what we're here for tonight. All this crystal clear background you can see. No. So the phase 1 is expanding our existing building. Phase 2 is a standalone building, which is soccer field now. We still will have soccer field, don't worry about it. But we're going to build a new building there for a full-time school, as well as the playground for youth outdoor activities. Phase 1 expansion will add 24,000 square feet of facility. It will be in front of the building, the existing building. I hope that this gives you some idea. And phase 2 will have a full-time and multi-purpose building. So we're here tonight for phase 1. Our focus is phase 1. This is a concept. Don't hold me to it, please. This is how it's going to look like, inshallah, or somewhat close to it. It will be a 3-story building plus the basement. So on top of 12,000 square feet, inshallah, we'll be adding 24,000 square feet. By the way, that Ferrari is not mine. But whoever owns that Ferrari, you bear a great responsibility of supporting this project. So what's in it? What's in 36,000 square feet facility? Obviously, more prayer area. During Ramadan, you know how it is. To a certain extent, it becomes unsafe. So inshallah, if we have more room to pray and also ability to host our children, maybe we'll have some areas for childcare or babysitting facility, or maybe even have their own Taraweeh. If we have a separate facility or a separate area where the kids can do their own Taraweeh, how beautiful is this? Inshallah. Social services. Inshallah, we'll have a clinic, food pantry, counseling. All of that, inshallah, will be possible. Too fast. Youth empowerment. Inshallah, we'll have a gym, activities, full-time Islamic school. The plan is now in phase 1, we'll have a few classrooms. We can start from K through 3, maybe even 5th grade. The idea is we want to build ground up, not have a humongous facility and don't know what to do with it. So we want to build as we grow, or we grow as we build, either way. Then obviously weekend school, evening classes, adult education. Computer is one thing. Learning computer skill is one thing. Many of our community members, some of them are new to the country. And as much as we like to help them, job searching or skill development, sometimes we can't. I remember one time, one brother donated close to 10 laptops, said, let's have a computer class. But we couldn't do it, because this 2 floors all we got. Civic and public affairs, we want to have more community meetings. Our masjid, alhamdulillah, almost at the center of the county. We get requests from different community entities that they want to host events at our masjid, regardless of faith. It doesn't have to do with faith. And they like our welcoming and open atmosphere, but we sometimes can't do it. Childcare, of course. So the estimated cost for this phase 1 expansion is $3.5 million. This is an estimate. And once we start the construction, we hope, inshallah, we can complete that within 2 years. That means we're going to have to raise enough fund in a sustained way all the way to the end of the construction, inshallah. Where are we today with that expansion? We have little over $300,000 cash on hand. We already engaged with number of engineering firms, getting assessment and guidance as to what we need to do for this expansion. And we will be selecting one by the end of this year and sign contract with them. We're also working with architectural proposal, which will help us finalize the building design. We continue to search for an architect firm. Welcome your input. If anyone is involved or an architect or would like to volunteer, not for free, we want to have professional service, inshallah. But if you know of, you can help with that, please reach out to us. Then, of course, the final selection will be done by this year, inshallah. We're also working on special use permit, unit permit from the county, which inshallah will be done by January of 2018. So the roadmap, June 2018, inshallah, we will finalize the design. September 2018 should be project plan approval, permits, legal, and the contract signed. November 2018, we should be able to get the budget approved and contract awarding to a general contractor. And we really pray that we can start the construction in January of 2019. It seems far away, but it's really not. It's only a year from now, maybe 13 months actually. If all goes well, inshallah, with your help, we should be able to complete the construction by March of 2020. So how do we get there? Well, that's what you're here for tonight. Obviously, $300,000 and $250,000 that you're going to give tonight is only $550,000. I shouldn't say only, but that's a great start. That's a great start because it carries a lot of credibility when we sign the contract with general contractor or engineering firm. Because we can't just go with empty pocket. They want to see the money. So when we have good cash on hand, it will strengthen our position to negotiate the contract and seal a better deal, inshallah. We need firm commitment from our community, from all of us, all of you, to raise $3.5 million. Without your commitment, without you being in charge, we can't do this. And over 3 years period, I truly believe we will be blessed to reach that goal. How do we do that? Obviously with regular donations. If each family pledges $100 a month, it's only $1,200 a year. We have thousands of families in this county. If 1,000 people, that's a large number, but it's probably only 1/3 or 1/5 of the county. We step up and pledges $100 a month, $1,200 a year. In 3 years, it's $3.6 million. I did the math, trust me. Better yet, of the 2,000 prayer areas, prayer spots, if you sponsor one for $1,000, that's $2 million, brothers and sisters. And you have a guaranteed spot. You'll have to let me share that, but your name will be there at least in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We also have employee matching program. If you go to our website, you can see the list of different employers that will match your donation. All you have to do, just go to the website, see the employer that you're affiliated with or you're employee of, and take it from there. You're doubling your donation. So brothers and sisters, $3.5 million is a lot of money, but when the community comes together, we can get there, inshallah, without anyone losing sleep. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I literally can't see any of you because these lights. MashaAllah, there's too much nur in this audience. That, sometimes when people watch a video and say, Sheikh, there's so much nur, I'm like, literally, there's some light that you can't see that's pointing at me right now. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your community. May Allah put light in your community, light in your hearts, light in your pulpits, light in your activities, and light the fire of goodness in the hearts of our youth to be able to continue this work. Allahumma ameen. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Last night I was with the families of our dear three winners, Liya, Yusur, and Razan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them. 3 young people that were murdered in Chapel Hill in a hateful Islamophobic crime that stunned the nation and stunned our community and stunned not just the Muslim community in North Carolina, not just the Muslim community in the United States, but actually the Muslim community worldwide. And I actually, when that incident took place, I was actually in Malaysia. I was in Kuala Lumpur, and they were talking about the incident that took place in North Carolina. Here we are, years later, and we still say their names. And we still honor their legacy. And last night, I was at this fundraiser where they were building a masjid called the Winners Masjid. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in a masjid. No offense. This is really hard to compete with. They have 3 roads. They built a subdivision and they built 3 roads that encompass the masjid. Liya Road, Yusur Street, and Razan Drive as the 3 roads around the masjid. And I thought to myself, how beautiful people as they walk to this masjid, the Winners Masjid, will be walking on these roads that will be in their names. And I thought to myself, how much Allah must love these 3, that He has preserved them in the way that He has, that He has honored them in the way that He has, that they continue to be a special part of our American Muslim story. And what's so special about them, the proudest thing in the world, is not to hear people that have never met them talk about them, but to hear the way that their parents speak about them. And you talk about legacy, it starts at home. The people that are closest to you. When the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, he said, "Inna khayra nas anfa'uhum lin-nas." The best of people are those who are most beneficial to the people. The best of people are those who are most beneficial to people. وَأَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ, and the most beloved of people. سُرُورٌ تُدْخِلُهُ عَلَى قَلْبِ أَخِيكَ أو أن تدخل على قلب أخيك سرورا, to enter a sense of inner joy in the heart of your brother. How you make people feel, which is what will be remembered after you depart from this world. And it really got me thinking about this concept of institution and what lasts after we pass away. It's not about the building, it's about what takes place in the building. It's about the relationships that are formed in that building, both between the creation and their creator, and the people that interact with one another within that building, and then the way that that nucleus is formed and then serves everyone and everything around it. That's what it's really about. It was never about the building. Now, don't get me wrong, the building is necessary. That's why you're here. But there's a community that precedes this building. And I had the blessing of visiting your masjid not too long ago. And mashallah, I absolutely loved the experience. It was a memorable experience. And I'm not just saying that. A beautiful community, all smiles. I can't see any of your smiles right now. I'm sure I'll see them after the lights are off and when we meet after this talk. But it's a community of smiles and a community which clearly has a sense of togetherness. And I must reiterate to you, and I will do so, inshallah, when I visit your mosque after it's built, do not let buildings divide you, because sometimes the bigger the building gets, the bigger the problems get too. It's about you. It's about the community. It's about the type of legacy that you want to leave. It's about your imprint collectively on this state and this country and in this world. It is about you. And we as a people have been taught by our tradition to always think about the future. All the way back to our father Adam and our mother Eve. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us that when Adam ﷺ looked at his descendants, he noticed a very beautiful servant amongst his descendants. And he asked Allah, who is this light? Who is this beautiful servant? This beautiful man from amongst my descendants? And Allah told him it was the Prophet David, peace be upon him, Dawood alayhi salam. And Adam saw David so beautiful that he actually donated decades from his own lifespan to his. Ya Allah, give him 40 years of my life. Because this is a man that's going to need to live longer, because the benefit and the impact that he will have on earth will be so great. He will fulfill the purpose of isti'mar, establishing oneself on earth. He will be a man distinguished by his worship. The Prophet ﷺ said that there is no fasting better than the fasting of David. He used to fast one day and he used to break his fast the next. He used to fast alternate days. And he said there is no prayer better than the prayer of David. He used to sleep the first 2/3 of the night, wake up for the last third and pray, and then sleep lightly in the last sixth of the night. The Prophet ﷺ praised his ibadah, but he was a man who would establish the greatness of God on this earth. And so even Adam alayhi salam, seeing him and seeing the benefit of him, taught us that selflessness and how we think about future generations to come. So this is a man that needs to live longer so that he can have the facility and the means by which he can do more good. We learn it from our father Abraham, Ibrahim alayhi salam. وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. When Allah tells us about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, as he goes to his son Ishmael, Ismail alayhi salam, and tells him that I've been ordered to build a house for the worship of Allah. تُعِينُنِي عَلَى ذَلِكَ, will you support me in doing so? And he told them yes. And they raised the foundation as they're building that Kaaba in the middle of nowhere, the middle of the desert. And Allah chose that place. You know why Allah chose that place? Some of the scholars say of the benefits of Allah choosing that place is no one would go to Mecca for any other reason except seeking the pleasure of Allah. There is nothing in that land. No offense if there is anyone here from Mecca. The weather is not good over there. It's a horrible climate. There are no pretty beaches there. There are no trees. It's barren, it's mountain. Yes, now you have a lot of Western franchises and McDonald's and Hardee's and Smashburger and things that you know, if you're worried about, you know, the meat that you consume, you go and you can eat it all over there, and you got these humongous hotels. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was a chosen place so that no one goes there saying, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, here I am, oh Allah, here I am, except seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You wouldn't go there for any other reason. So Allah chose a place. And Ibrahim raised an institution, built that masjid. And you know what I find interesting is that Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't tell Ismail alayhi salam, you know, while we're at it, let's go ahead, while it's still soft, let's go ahead and put our hands on the Kaaba and write, you know, Ibrahim was here. So people remember us later on. Allah preserved his footprints. Allah preserved his maqam, both literally and figuratively. His station was maintained and his legacy and his footprints remained by divine command, because Allah knew that Ibrahim alayhi salam had no interest in the recognition from people as they came later on chanting the oneness of God, but instead he was doing it for that one God in the first place, and so Allah honored him. And there we are. Pull up a Mecca live stream right now, people following in the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's not about the building. It's not about the building. The building has been built in different ways. The building has been used for ungodly purposes. It was exploited for pagan capitalism at some point. The building lost its way at some point, but Allah preserved it, as it was built on a foundation of sincerity. There was another attempt to build a building in Yemen by a man named Abraha. As we read about him in our history, if you guys have the children pop-up books where the Kaaba pops up, some of you might know what I'm talking about, and the elephants pop up and the whole story pops up, I read it to my son. It's an amazing book. I forget what the name of, I think In Shade Publishing or something like that. But, you know, the story of this man that built a building to rival the Kaaba. And yes, from a glamour perspective and from the construction perspective, that building was more beautiful than the Kaaba. But nobody cares about that building. And he sought to destroy the Kaaba out of envy and jealousy. But Allah maintained it. You know, my 4-year-old, when he read the story, he started having nightmares about Abraha. That was his boogeyman. I was like, come on, you know. It wasn't Jafar or Ja'far from Aladdin or like one of those other villains. It turned out to be Abraha. So I didn't even know how Abraha looked. So I told him, I was like, well, you know, what do you do when you see Abraha? So he told me I should say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. I said, yeah. And I said, punch him in the face and tell him, don't come back. So one day he woke up happy and I said, what did you do? He said, I punched Abraha in the face. It's like, attaboy. Nobody cares about Abraha anymore. Nobody cares about the building that he built, because it wasn't about the construction, it was about the hearts and the community behind the other construction. Do you know in Medina, when the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam arrived in Medina, and what was the first mosque that was built? Masjid Quba. Masjidun ussisa ala taqwa. A mosque that was built on the foundations of piety. Did you know there was another masjid that was built at the same time? Masjid Dirar. A masjid built with evil intentions. And guess what? Nobody remembers that masjid. No one tries to dig it up. Nobody visits it. Whereas Quba is a place where people visit all the time and pray in it, as the Prophet ﷺ prayed. Allah maintained that institution because it was built upon sincerity, because there was a community of believers that preceded it. We think about those that come after. And we think about the imprint that we leave. And we think about how to provide shoulders for others, as shoulders have been provided for us to stand on. We constantly talk about the previous generation, and my generation is guilty of this. Generation X and the millennials. And we talk about how the previous generation made so many mistakes. But look at all these masajid and all these institutions that were built, selfless sacrifice by people who were not thanked by other people, but did it because they wanted to leave behind something meaningful for us. Last night I asked the question, all right, I can see you guys now. I said, how many of you have heard of Dr. Ahmad Saqr? Can you raise your hands? I see like 2 on this side, 3 on this side. Dr. Ahmad Saqr, rahimahullah. How many of you have heard of the MSA, Muslim Student Association? Raise your hands. Some of you really don't like raising your hands. Or you really don't like the MSA. Everyone's heard of the MSA, right? The Muslim Student Association. They're everywhere. I remember that man, may Allah have mercy on him, traveling around the country, sleeping in people's apartments, establishing MSAs around the country on his own dime, not caring about what people would attribute the MSA to. Every single good that comes out of that institution and that association and that effort of student activism goes back to the scale of that man and those like him who were establishing something that had nothing to do for them, but it was for the glory of God. And subhanAllah, look at where it is now. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he wakes up one day after seeing a dream, and he's smiling, and he says, oh, how I wish. من هذا الفتى من نسلي الذي يملأ الأرض عدلا بعد أن مليت جورا. I wish I could see this young man who will be from my descendants, who will fill the earth with justice after it has been filled with injustice. He was seeing his grandson, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahimahullah, in a dream, and he was so happy that Allah would choose a reformer of justice to be from his descendants. It didn't matter if he would get credit or not. It was that he created a culture of justice that would be revived by someone from his descendants. We work for those who come after us. We invest our time, our energy, our resources, not for the short-term high of being praised in this world, but for the long-term goal of being praised in the hereafter. Not for the lowly praise of people, but for the priceless praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to end with this, and I think I'm going to see a lot more hands this time. How many of you have heard of Muhammad Ali? All right, you guys, I don't know what's wrong with you people. Really? All right. Muhammad Ali, rahimahullah, is someone who we've been talking about a lot as Muslim Americans over the last year and a half. I think that his death revived in us the legacy that he has amongst us, not just as Muslims, but at one time the most famous American in the world. I think that it caused us to think about the great debt that we owe to him and to others like him, like Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, Malcolm X, rahimahullah, and others like him. But I think it revived in us quite a bit and made us start thinking. And subhanAllah, that did not just resonate with the Muslim community, but challenged athletes and challenged all types of people to think about what his legacy means after he has passed away. And there are many things that you could take from his legacy, and there are many things that people don't know about the man. I had the blessing of praying in his janazah, and I actually got to pray right next to his son. First row. And it was such an emotional experience. Anyone that was there could tell you, I mean, subhanAllah, it was something. It really was something. You know what was emotional for me was not really the Muslims in there. It was on the way to the convention center where the janazah was. Everybody in Louisville, Kentucky has a Muhammad Ali story. The gas station guy, the shuttle driver, every person in Louisville, Kentucky had a story of Muhammad Ali, an encounter with him, and it always was a smile, a joke, an autograph, inspiration. Every single person. And you know, he told his kids that he had this dream, and this is well before he passed away. A few years before he passed away, he had this dream that he was jogging in the streets of Louisville, Kentucky, and he saw all the people come out to the streets and they were waving bye to him. Everybody in Louisville, Kentucky was waving bye to him, and he was jogging and watching them wave bye to him, and then he went to the cemetery, and that was the end of his dream. And subhanAllah, his death was precisely that. As his hearse went through the streets of Louisville, everybody in Louisville came out to the streets to bid farewell to Muhammad Ali. May Allah have mercy on him. And if you want a really good book to read, and I really do mean it, I don't recommend books lightly. If you read the book, The Soul of a Butterfly, he co-authored it with his daughter, Reflections on Life by Muhammad Ali. It is one of the most beautiful books, spiritually uplifting books I've ever read in my life. Just him reflecting on the nature of life, materialism, fame, power, charity, generosity. There's a lot to that man that people do not know. A lot that people do not know and people do not appreciate. For example, if I was to ask you, did you know that he went to the refugee camps, the Palestinian refugee camps? Did you know that he used to pass out the udhiyah meat in Chicago? Did you know that this man used to give millions and millions of dollars of charity anonymously to Muslim and non-Muslim organizations alike, all the time? A life of generosity. If you get a chance and you go to YouTube, you search up Muhammad Ali with the American contractors that were held in captivity by Saddam Hussein before the Gulf War, and Muhammad Ali going overseas, almost dying to free those American captives. And when he frees them and they come out, I just love the scene. A man comes out and he says, I don't know what to do. How can I thank you? And at that time, Muhammad Ali was old, so he says it in his muffled voice. He says, don't thank me, thank Allah. It's so beautiful to just see it. And they, someone asked him in the car, I say, don't you advertise the charity that you do, all this work that you're doing? And you know what he said? He said, I market my fights, but the good deeds are between me and God. I don't want to market those. Keep them pure, between me and Allah. Why do I tell you this man's story? Because many people wouldn't associate with Muhammad Ali building mosques. How many of you knew that he built masajid in this country? Several mosques. I was in Miami, Florida, and you see this beautiful masjid in an area where you wouldn't expect to see that beautiful masjid. It's relatively a downtrodden urban area in Miami, and you see this beautiful mosque right there. And I asked about that masjid, and they told me the story of that masjid, that these were the streets where he used to jog. And you know the famous story where he got pulled over, where he was jogging as a young man? In 1965, he decided to build a masjid, to buy a masjid in that same area where he used to jog. He paid for it cash. It was anonymous. And he told the brothers in the community there, he said that this mosque is not just for prayer, but it has to be of service to the people. So he named the masjid. Anyone know what the masjid's name is? Anybody? Masjid al-Ansar in Miami, Florida. Huge, multi-million-dollar mosque that has been standing now for 58 years. Purchased by Muhammad Ali, rahimahullah, still serving its community. Anyone here from Chicago? No? None of those like comedy shows where someone goes like, woo, or something like that. Masjid Fatir, 1983, the biggest masjid in Chicago, purchased by Muhammad Ali, rahimahullah. If you go to the website of Masjid Fatir, you'll see a picture of Muhammad Ali standing outside watching the construction of it. Purchased that masjid. In the 1990s, he came to Dallas, Texas. I saw a picture of him or actually it might have been the 80s, in IENT, one of our oldest masajid, the Islamic Association of North Texas, Richardson Mosque. Always going around and establishing institutions. Yes, Muhammad Ali will live on with the people in his mansion for the greatness that he taught people in so many different phases of life. But there's a whole nother layer of greatness that remains between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I guarantee you that the reward that we hope that Allah will give him for all those institutions, those masajid, those continuous charities that he left behind will be more precious to him than everyone in the world saying his name and bidding him farewell. I want us to think in that way. Where are the hearts and the communities that don't just build for themselves, but build for generations to come? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this community one of those communities. May Allah purify our hearts, purify our wealth, place us in His service and in the service of all of His creation. May Allah allow this community to be a shining example, not just for communities around North America, but communities around the world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow this to be one of the masajid that is established on the foundations of taqwa, of God consciousness and piety. Allahumma ameen. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Shout out to the table in the back, honestly. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming out to support our 3rd annual fundraiser. Some of you may recognize me from last year's speech that had a few nerve-wracking moments, but alhamdulillah, I'm back and for the 3rd annual fundraiser, And I've tried to better my public speaking skills. Thanks to Bilal Aslam for forever giving so many of the youth opportunities to build and strengthen our weaknesses. Let's give him a big round of applause for being a wonderful youth coordinator, mentor, and friend. I can't even see him, but, oh, there he is, down there. Okay, I strongly urge the parents here to get your kids involved in our youth group. There's so many programs that help us learn and grow as individuals. And on that note, it's my pleasure to introduce one of our youth's finest, who's been a part of our youth group for years now, always there to volunteer and take action, one of my dearest friends, Sidra Bangura.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sidra Bangura, and I would just like to start off by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, the Most Great. It's my pleasure to be here tonight, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out to support MAV and all the Muslims here in Prince William County. It's such an honor to have each and every one of you here, and I just pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to bless and guide each and every one of you and reunite us in this life and the next. Currently, I attend Virginia Tech, and I wouldn't know where I would be without the influence of the Dollar North community. I can remember the first time that I got to work with all the other youth leaders in the masjid. We got to plan an MSA night where it brought together all the high schools in Prince William County. It was such an amazing event, and it created a safe space for the Muslim youth to have fun. The community at Dollar Noor is like no other, and it showed me the aspects of a true, strong Muslim community. I have learned so many life lessons and have become a productive member of society. As a member of this community, I've created so many lifelong relationships that I cherish. All the MAV and MAV youth events have been so beneficial, and I always remember them when I'm at Virginia Tech. We have been blessed with so many youth-led halakas, wonderful speakers. We had some nice Eid festivities, and my favorite one of them were when we delivered care packages to the homeless in DC during the winter. Through this blessed activity, we not only got the chance to put ourselves in the shoes of others, but we became more grateful. We got to realize the blessings that we have a home and a great community to live in. This event showed the essence of what it means to give back to your community. This event pushed me to pursue international relations because I found out how so important it was to give back to our Muslim community locally and globally because they're suffering so much. It was also at a MAV youth event where I figured out more that I really want to pursue helping people. It was in my senior year of high school when MAV Youth held a career panel where many Muslim professionals came and told us what they do every day. This summer, I was also given the opportunity to spend part of my summer taking a program called Fawakeh. Every time someone asks me about my experience at Fawakeh, I cannot express the sheer blessing of this program. Fawakeh translates to fruits in Arabic, and through this program, I learned the gems, well, the fruits of the Arabic language. This program helped me feel more comfortable with the Arabic language, and it deepened my love for the Quran. I also met some amazing souls and from around the US, and I got to take on this great journey with them. I was the youngest person in my class, and I learned so many lessons. One of the lessons that I recall was when a student asked my teacher, Ustad Umair, what does the Muslim community really need to be great, to have ihsan, to have excellence? And his answer was so profound, and it still sits with me today, and it makes me think of what our Dollar Noor community can become. He said that we just need people who are great at what they do. That doesn't mean we need 1 million doctors or 1 million engineers, but we need everyone to be good at their field of work and their talents. Through Fawakeh, I learned how to form a great relationship with the Arabic language and my fellow classmates and teachers. I love the program, and I spent my summer in such a beneficial setting. I have enjoyed my time at Dollar Noor, and I have been blessed to be a part of this community. There's always a helping hand when you need it, and a community to fall back on. I would just like to thank each and every person who had the intention just to help the youth. We wouldn't be able to achieve any of our goals without our wonderful youth director, Bilal, and the amazing regular volunteers that we have. We had lots of laughs and spent so many beneficial days together. Even though the Muslim community at Virginia Tech is amazing, I always miss all the Dollar Noor events. This is certainly a place that I call home. And I would like to thank each and every one of you guys for listening to me. Jazakallah khair, and assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about the New Muslim Support Group. Darul Noor's New Muslim Support Group is critically important to this masjid. The first time that I walked into Darul Noor, I was a Christian. This community helped to show me and support me on my path to Islam. I was raised a Catholic. I attended a private Catholic school in New Hampshire growing up, and I even assisted our priest on Sundays at Mass as an altar boy. But a little over 2 years ago, I made the decision to pick up an English translation of the Quran and read about Islam for myself. I had only made it to about the 3rd surah before I started thinking to myself, wow, this really makes sense. A direct relationship with God, acknowledging that no one is God's equal, and the realization that human nature requires us to pray daily in order to remember our commitment to God. This is exactly what I wanted for my relationship with God. But when I had first picked up the Quran, I wasn't interested in becoming Muslim. I just wanted to know how the Islamic faith could justify the violence that was occurring around the world. What I discovered was that, like most other Americans, I incorrectly believed that Islam permitted this violence. So I kept reading. I had my English translation of the Quran on my iPad, and I would just sit at night and read. I found myself starting to highlight passages on my iPad and bookmark the page for reference later. But reference for what? Was I really willing to change my faith? Was I really willing to tell my parents that I would not be going to church anymore on Sundays? About halfway through my reading of the Quran, I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped going to the casino. I was using YouTube videos to try and learn how a Muslim prays. I was using a back room in my house to practice praying because I was afraid somebody might look through the windows and see me otherwise. Eventually, as I continued to read, the surahs began to get shorter and shorter. I knew I was coming to the end, and so I slowed down on my reading, but it never really left my mind. I decided that I cannot keep asking Imam YouTube and Imam Google for help. What I needed was to go to a mosque and look for some answers, ask some serious questions. The first mosque that I visited was a small mosque near my home. I found it through Google. I didn't quite find the answers I was looking for there, so I kept looking. What I found was Darul Noor Islamic Community Center. When I visited for that first time, I sat down with Imam Nabil. Imam Nabil and I sat down on the marble steps in the Masalla. No one else was around then. And we had a discussion about the differences between Christianity and Islam. But more importantly, we had a discussion about the similarities between the two faiths. I could see in Imam Nabil's face that he was truly happy to have me there asking questions. It filled him with joy to help me learn about Islam. He listened and helped me without judgment, with patience, and without ever pressuring me into making a decision. After my discussion with Imam Nabil, I started coming to Darul Noor regularly for prayers. Now I'll admit that those first couple times I went, my focus was not on my prayers, but rather I was more focused on mimicking everyone around me, so I looked like I at least knew what I was doing. One day after Jummah prayer, I was approached by Shadaf Ahmed. Apparently, I wasn't doing a great job of pretending because Shadaf said, "Are you a new Muslim?" Maybe it was my blonde hair and blue eyes that give it away, though. I told him that I was just learning about Islam. I don't think I was ready to admit yet what I really wanted. Shadaf sat and spoke with me for a while. He learned about who I was, and he offered any help that he could give me. At Jummah prayer the next week, I saw Shadaf again. This time he had a gift bag for me. Inside were books about Islam, instructions on how to pray, and my very own prayer rug. I still use that prayer rug today. You see, Darul Noor didn't officially have a new Muslim support group back then, but this entire community is a support group for new Muslims. When I came to Darul Noor seeking to understand Islam, I was given friendship and brotherhood. I was given patience and understanding. And when I finally chose to stand in front of the community and take my shahada, I was given a new family. Darul Noor's New Muslim Support Group is about more than just helping to educate Muslims. It's about expanding our Darul Noor family and making sure that every person whose heart is softened by the words of the Quran is met with open arms by this community, by our Darul Noor family. Many of you know my wife, Lamia. Her parents are in Fredericksburg, but Lamia as well joined our Darul Noor family about a year ago when we got married. I just wanted to take this opportunity to share with everybody a little announcement we have. We're making our own contribution to the growing Darul Noor family, and we're expecting a baby this May. Thank you. Darul Noor is not a small community masjid anymore. We are growing and expanding, and we have an opportunity to welcome so many Americans to our faith. The activities and events of our New Muslim Support Group will help grow this community so that in just a few short years, my face does not stand out in the crowd at Jummah, inshallah. Thank you for supporting my path to Islam, And I hope that you will join me in supporting the New Muslim Support Group so we can bring so many more to the path of Allah. Assalamu alaikum.
لا يصل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأحوال مقتحم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم ثم الرضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر ثم الرضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر ثم الرضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان ذي الكرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل دائما أبدا على حبيبي خير خلق الله لكلهم مولاي صل دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير خلق الله كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We wish all of you, inshallah, you enjoyed tonight with our speakers, with our entertainers, and with our food, inshallah. And we thank all of you for your generosity for tonight, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless all of your children, inshallah, all your family, and make you among the people of the Jannah, inshallah. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تبارك ربنا وتعاليت فلك الحمد على ما قضيت نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم آمين الحمد لله رب العالمين جزاكم الله خير إن شاء الله.